This is your soul brother, Talib. Yes, I didn't really feel like doing a video, but I must do this one because I came up on the alarming video by brother Willie D from the Willie D YouTube channel, and he reported on a very alarming situation that just took place down in Nashville, Tennessee, over recently ago, where a Caucasian New York City cop pled no contest to burglary and aggravated assault charge when he was drunk and publicly, and he went and kicked in the door of a house that was being occupied by a black family, a mother and multiple children that were in there with her. And well, of course, the moral of the situation, well, his story, of course, is that he got off with a slap on the wrist. Okay, once again, we talking about a Caucasian and a police officer who's a New York City police officer. And by the way, he was only suspended for 30 days. So he's still actively on the New York City police force, far as I know, according to all of what I heard being said in the video. He still has his job with the NYPD as a law enforcement official, but yet he is now at this point a convicted felon who got 3 years probation for a home invasion charge, which was dropped down to a burglary because it was a home invasion, due to the fact that he kicked in these people's door. So, of course, as the story goes, I'm pretty sure that's what they dropped it down to as a lesser charge, which is burglary. And he pled no contest to that. And as I said before, he pled no contest also to aggravated assault. So here we got now, at this point, a convicted felon who still has a job as a New York City police officer working in law enforcement. And we got to ask ourselves, of course, if he was black or brown, he would not have this job any longer, due to the fact that he is now officially a convicted felon. And of course, the racist judge in Nashville, Tennessee, I forget his name, his full name, but I think his name is Mark Fishburne, and if I'm not mistaken, but the police officer's name is Mark Reynolds. So be advised, if you ever go to New York City, be on the lookout for him. Because if you run into him anywhere on the streets of New York, take precaution. That's all I could say. And being the fact that this crime happened a year ago, which he just got sentenced for last month, November of this year, he's still, of course, probably right back at doing what he does, violating the rights of people of so-called color, violating their civil rights as well as their human rights, like we know most of the racist police in New York City have always been known to do, as well as the police force throughout the rest of the country, who's always been known to trample upon the civil rights and human rights of, black people in this nation. But like I said before, just be aware if you ever happen to travel to New York City for some reason and you run across this individual, because he is very dangerous. And, he's not fit, as someone say, to be amongst, the living civilized, So be aware, of which you around in case you run into him, and take serious and safety precautions as you go along the way with that. And I mean, this confirms, like I said in a comment under the video that reported this situation, that this confirms what Martin Luther King Jr. said decades ago, that we living in two different Americas. That's just a plain fact. It's no way of getting around that. That's just still a plain fact to this very day in 2019, going into further into the new millennium of 2020. This is still a reality. We are living definitely in two different Americas. It's no question about that. It's like what the white man does, the black man can't do, and so forth and on. There's no equality. And I have to say, we should definitely separate. That's one thing. If I don't agree with the Nation of Islam about nothing else, that's one thing I do agree with them on, is that separation of the so-called Negro slave in America and the racist Caucasians is definitely necessary, especially even at this point in time of our history as being the oppressed people in this country. I mean, it's like we need to really just assess this situation if we really want to survive longer as a people, as a group of people, period, in this country. I mean, if we truly want to be free, something that our ancestors on the slave plantations prayed for to take place for over 300 years, which still hasn't taken place, that we finally truly be free of this nightmare. Like Tupac called it, a white man's heaven, which is a living hell for the black man. So, like I said before, I mean, we need to really, we really need to access this situation for what it is, and move on what we see, with the right proper information as far as in terms of what we need to do to liberate ourselves all together for once and for all from under this slave oppression that we find ourselves. Because until we do that, things is just going to simply remain the same. We still going to remain in this, slave-like condition. This is why the Mississippi Campaign, which is a platform I'm on with Brother Angel Snup 7, is very necessary. I mean, here it is. Once again, we see injustices unfolding in this country, where you see, once again, a racist who done got away with murder, basically. He's drunk out in public. A New York City police officer, a Caucasian one at that, down in Nashville, Tennessee on a vacation, getting drunk. And then turn around and go kick in the door of a black family and start verbally assaulting them and also aggravatedly assaulting them, according to the charge. You know, I mean, hey, you know, these people in their house minding their business, and he just kicks in their door. He don't do nothing but 2 weeks in the jail. That's all they gave him, along with the 3 years of probation that he got. While you got black people doing decades for burglary. You got black and brown people throughout many prisons across the United States for that same charge doing decades. I ain't just talking about 5 years, 2, 3 years. I'm talking about 10 years on up, 20 years, even maybe 30 years. Especially if they got a previous criminal history as how the, you know, racist court system always want to label it as being a habitual offender, where then that gives them the justification to get them more decades in time in prison for a crime like burglary. You know, but this dude committed home invasion, which was a charge that shouldn't have been dropped to burglary. See? So burglary is lesser than home invasion. Okay? I know how that go. Because I used to be a part of that game in the streets, okay? But I tell you one thing. That home invasion is a very serious charge. And you could do a lot of time on that. And even with burglary, especially depending on what state you in, you could do some serious time for that, even though that's a lesser charge than home invasion. But yet this guy gets only 3 years. And as far as the jail time, the least minimal, all they could give him is just 2 weeks in jail and 3 years probation. And he still gets to keep his job as a police in New York City. I mean, hey, all them felons, especially them black and brown felons they got up in New York, maybe they should apply to become a police officer in New York, since they ain't got no problem with having felons on their police force up there. Because this guy's a convicted felon. You know, this guy's a straight up convicted felon. He ain't even got no business working in law enforcement, according to the rules or laws of the land. You know, or who could work in law enforcement and who can't. But yet, of course, because of his skin color, it don't make no difference. That rule don't apply to him. You see? So this is the type of situation, like I say, we're in. And I mean, you know, we have to wake up and understand that we are living in a situation that is either we gonna take our freedom, our true freedom, you know, not just a few trinkets here and there, or tiddly bit things here and there to make us feel satisfied, to keep us thinking we're free when we know we're not. You know, I'm talking about taking on something big as taking control of a state, which will get us to the promised land, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, you know? That's why this Mississippi campaign is necessary, you know, because we won't have to worry about stuff like this. And the situation is, here it is, you had people of soul, who I refer to so-called black people, African Americans as, okay? But these people were victimized by this racist who even went as far as to using the N-word while he kicked in their door and assaulted them, and all this other stuff, But yet he gets 3 years probation and just only 2 weeks in jail behind this. In some places, he would have got shot. I totally agree with that, especially what I read in the comment section under the video. Yes, I agree with some of those comments. In some places around the country, he would have definitely ended up having his head handed to him. And it would have been justified in some places. In certain parts of the United States, you just don't kick in nobody's door. And everything is supposed to be all right. No. You could end up dead yourself in a situation like that. Burglary or home invasion, that's a very serious game. Especially while people in the house and you committing a crime like that. You could lose your life like that. That's a deadly serious game to be playing. So, like I said before, this guy gets a slap on the wrist. It's no wonder he ain't dead. Why his butt should be in prison with the rest of them other black and brown inmates that's in there for the same charge. And in a state like Tennessee too, another Confederate slave state, come on. A Republican, conservative, Confederate slave state like Tennessee, come on. And here it is, all he got was 2 weeks in jail and only 3 years of probation. It's like Willie D say, go up under the comment section and look at the video on Willie D's channel. And you will also get the judge's name too. The sentencing judge. Because he probably has done black folks dirty himself. Pigging off of what Willie D said, he probably it's more probably a probability that he has, with the type of slap on the wrist that he gave this racist cop, for what he did to his black victims, So, like I said before, this needs to, we got to separate. It's a need for us to separate. It is definitely a need for us to separate. We ain't, we need to take control of Mississippi and then Alabama and Georgia, where we could have some states behind us, where we could quarantine ourselves through separation from the rest of this crap of racism that goes on in America. Well, we and our later generations can be protected from this. So, I didn't want to I just wanted to make a quick video about this. But this is very serious. This definitely don't make no sense. This situation is very crazy. Like I say, you got a convicted felon walking around on the streets of New York, still being allowed to walk around with a badge and a license to carry a gun, where he could, at will trample on the rights of other black people, just like he trampled on the rights of those victims in Nashville, Tennessee. And like I said before, this situation We got to do something to take our freedom. They not gonna give it to us. They've already let us know they not giving us no darn reparations either. And the only way to get our reparations is to take our reparations. And that's by taking control of a few of these states like I named. Well, we have some protection around us as a people. And it's just that simple. And for those of you in the pro-black conscious community screaming this separation thing, y'all either need to be about it or shut the hell up about it. That's just that simple. For real. It really is that simple. That's why I don't even listen to what y'all got to say. Because y'all know y'all full of it anyway. Y'all ain't really about no separation. Y'all need to not even let that come out of y'all mouth. Much as injustices y'all see y'all people going through every day in this country, and that we are all going through as a people every day. Just being dark-skinned in America. But, like I said before, we really need to consider the situation that we are up against as a people. I mean, we really do. We need to really consider what we're up against and just stop playing games. Because this is not no game. We might as well just, if we ain't gonna do nothing about our situation as it is, we might as well accept our fate, which is called concentration camps and mass graves. Just like the same similar fate that the Jews in Nazi Germany experienced, which is a probable chance that could happen right here in America. At a right given opportunity of time. Like I've been telling y'all for the longest. So, keep on thinking that doo-doo don't stink. That's all I can say about that part. But like I said before, we don't really see no farther than, what most of us who have tunnel vision are. You can't see no farther than the tunnel vision that you have. Because you still think you free. And like I said before in other videos, and I'll say it again, one thing different between us and our ancestors, at least they knew and understood they was not free. You see? But that is the difference between them and us today, because we think we free when we're not. Even the 13th Amendment clearly tells us that we still ain't free. Just look at over 2-some million of us that are massively incarcerated in these prison death camps around America. That should just be enough right there to tell you, that your happy ass ain't free as a slave. But I mean, like I said, keep thinking that doo-doo don't stink. I mean, this is just another situation among other situations that just constantly keep popping up and confirming why the platform that we come from, far as Operation Exodus Mississippi, is so necessary. And for those of you that are inquisitive and curious about what I'm saying on that note, go to our Operation Exodus Mississippi YouTube channel so you can understand more of what I'm referring to dealing with that. And also we got our brother Angel Snup 7, aka Tolly Gibbon Rod, who has another channel called Reality Temple on Earth, along with other channels, but that one you could go check out. whenever you get time. And I mean, like I said before, and we have Sister Noble Levine, who's also on our platform. Shout outs to her. And Sister Rashida Strober of dark skin activism, and also brother Gary Cool Cutter, who's also, a part of our platform. Shout out to all of you. But I mean, it's like, man, we really need to understand that this situation we dealing with is not no joke. We are really in a corner where we at the point that we have to come out scratching just like a cat. We have no other choice. Either that or die. Die a slave. And it's just that simple. And I mean, I don't know, really anything or what more that needs to be said. Because, I mean, this situation here that I'm particularly speaking about in this video, confirms all the reasons or confirms, along with the other reasons of why this Mississippi campaign is so necessary. And I mean, we really need to understand the importance of this fact, and stop lollygagging if we really want to be liberated. If we want to be liberated, and if we want to really be free, and we really want to see our future generations that come behind us be free, where they ain't never got to experience nothing like we've seen, or like the ancestors before us had to go through and see. So I mean, we really need to understand that and stop being, cowards, and step up. Like they say, man up, woman up. Since you call yourselves men and women, well then you will be on the path of being a real man and woman by pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps and taking control of some of these states, a few of these states, and we could, protect ourselves from this. Because until, we can stop this effectively from happening to us as a people, where these racists could kick in our door and do anything they want to do to us randomly at will and just get away with it, just like they murdering us in the streets every day, all throughout America, then we don't need to even be calling ourselves men and women. Why they gunning our children down in the streets every day like dogs? We don't need to be calling ourselves men and women. No real man and woman gonna stand by and just let that happen. I don't know what you define as a man and woman, but we as a group of people, whether we call ourselves African Americans, black, or whatever, Hebrew, Muslim, Israelite, Christian, Nubian, Kemetic, or whatever we choose to call ourselves, we are not real men and women. Long as we sit in this cesspool and suffer the way that we do, we cannot keep calling ourselves men and women until we change the exact reality of where we are at as a people in this situation. And that's just simple as that. And I mean, we just got to understand that this is part of the reality of what we're up against as a people. I don't care who's elected as president, even once Trump is out, the same thing is going to keep happening to us as a people. And it's not going to get no better. but worse, as you can see. So, like I said before, hey, I mean, we could keep playing with our lives and our future generations' lives all we want to. And, but I mean, worse of fate awaits us long as we keep playing that game. And I mean, hey, it's just oblivious, but I mean, I don't know no other people in the world or in the history of the world that has took so much abuse like we've took for almost 500 years as black people here in America, and we still choose to remain under these type of horrendous enslaved-like conditions that we find ourselves in as a group of people, without effectively, on a massive scale, being willing to do something to turn this around. I've never seen no people in the world like this, ever. And it's unfortunate, but I must say that I come from us as a people, but I've never seen no other people like this in the history of the world, of humankind. But then we have the audacity to want to call ourselves men and women when that don't define our reality in any shape, form, or fashion. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you got a nice car, nice home, a nice big $1 billion fat bank account. You still a Negro. I guess you seen how much they show Bill Cosby that, and others like him, including O.J. Simpson, and the list could go on. They don't care nothing about that. They were still trying to tear Michael Jackson down even after he went to the grave. See? They don't care nothing about that. They'll take what you got. As quickly as they allowed you to get it, they'll take it right back. And don't never forget that. But like I said, going back to the main topic of this, video before I close out, it's unfortunate for that black family of how they were victimized down there in Nashville, Tennessee. And I hope that they get legal monetary compensation for this, for their woes, and, they suffering that they got to go through still after the fact of all this taking place. And, but I must say that, hey, it's not going to stop until we stop it. No God is going to come from the sky to do it for us. No, mother plane, spaceship is going to come out the sky and do it for us. We get no foreigner is going to come from outside the United States and do it for us. No prophet is going to come from no divinity or dimension somewhere to do it for us. We got to do this for ourselves. Ain't no divine prophet gonna do it, no divine messenger, none of that. We got to do it for ourselves. Even though Drew Ali came and told us, he came to teach us so we could save ourselves. Okay? And this was almost a century ago when this brother said that, basically. So like I said before, we got to save ourselves. And with that said, You know, like I said, on my way to closing out, um, we got to, really get it together as a people. Else, just accept our eventual fate, which is called extermination. And with that said, peace.